Welcome back friends. So in the previous lecture we discussed about what is reward management. As I said that getting rewards is what an employee always look forward to. We learnt what are the objectives of reward management, why an organization needs to have good reward management, and what are the key components of reward management. Moving further, let's understand the objectives of a reward system. So friends, the aim of a reward system within an organization is to attract, motivate and retain employees by offering a comprehensive set of incentives that recognize and appreciate their contributions. And a well designed reward system should always align with the organization's strategic objectives and contribute to a positive work culture. So, talking of the objectives, the first and foremost objective of any reward system is to attract talent. So, to attract skilled and qualified individuals to join the organization, this is the first and foremost objective of any reward system. So, what can be the strategy? You can offer competitive salary and benefits packages that stand out in the job market. So, if you are able to provide rewards which are better than what your competitors are offering, then you have almost won the war. Second is motivating employees. So, every organization wants to motivate employees to perform at their best and contribute to the organization's success. And having a good reward system can be a method or a tool to motivate your employees. But how you can do so? You can do so by recognizing and rewarding the high performances through a mix of financial and non-financial incentives. So, it is very important for you as an HR manager understand the needs of your people, that every individual I always believe would be having different types of motivators. I might be motivated by a financial incentive, but my peer would be someone who likes to have more of non-financial incentives. So, you need to balance the financial as well as the non-financial benefits or incentives for your people and understand that who wants what. And based on this knowledge, you can decide upon or strategize upon the reward system for your people. Then of course, every organization also wants to retain its employees, reduce the turnover. And the strategy can be that you can provide opportunities for career development, having a positive work environment and competitive compensations. Then the next objective is aligning with organizational goals to ensure that individual and team efforts they contribute towards the achievement of organizational objectives. And how it can be done? By tying rewards to performance metrics and goals that align with the organization's strategic plan. So, whatever you are doing, be it hiring, be it training, be it compensation management, every function of the human resource management department must be aligned with the overall organization's strategic plans. Whatever an organization believes in doing in the next couple of years or say 5 years, they must be having a particular vision or mission. So, the entire human resource management functions must be aligned with these strategic plans or vision and mission of the organization. Moving further, the objective of reward system is fostering employee engagement. to create a sense of commitment and engagement among employees is also very important. And how you can do so is by implementing recognition programs, promoting a positive work culture, encouraging your employees' involvement in the decision making process. So, when we say involving employees in decision making, this is what we mean by saying that we are empowering our people. Whenever we allow our people to be involved in the decision making, we are empowering them so that they can take on the decisions themselves. So, it is not that the decisions are being taken by somebody else and the rest of the team has to just abide by the decisions taken or the rules or policies made. But when you encourage your people to be involved in the decision making process, you are showing them that you value their opinion. And with this, you are increasing their sense of commitment, their sense of belonging, their engagement towards the organization. Now, coming to the next topic is the development of reward management. So, how do you actually manage your reward system? How do you develop your reward management system? So, friends, a crucial component of human resource management is the establishment of reward management, as we just discussed. This entails creating and putting into practice the plans to draw in, keep and inspire your workers via a competitive and equitable pay structure. So, we will now discuss the important components and phases in the evolution of reward management, that is how we can actually bring reward management in black and white, because as I said in the beginning of the lecture also, that it is not done in a haphazard or a random manner. It is something which is planned systematically. So, how do we plan this? How are the various phases planned? Let us discuss. So, the first step here is strategy alignment. So, align your reward management with the overall goals and objectives of the organization. This is of utmost importance. You must understand the strategic direction and the priorities of your organization, and in alignment to this, you can ensure that the reward system supports these. So, the direction of your organization's vision, mission and the direction of your reward system should be aligned. They should be in the same direction and not in opposite directions. That is what we mean by the first phase, which is strategy alignment. The next step is job analysis and evaluation. So, you need to recognize and record the essential duties, abilities and proficiencies that are needed for every position inside the company. That is what we mean by a job analysis. Now, determine an internal compensation system by evaluating the relative worth of each position. So, if there are two jobs, job A and job B, you must be aware as to how job A has a better or more worth than job B. Why does job A require a person whom you can pay 20,000, but for a person performing job B, the salary can be 10,000. So, you must be aware as to how to compensate and how you can evaluate the relative worth of all the positions in an organization. So, techniques like point factor analysis, work grading, they can be used for this. That is how you determine the internal compensation system. So, you must conduct such surveys so that you can understand the prevailing market rates for different job roles. So, I was just talking about one job role, job A, for which you are offering 20,000, but your competitors are offering 25,000, 30,000. right? So that survey has to be conducted in the industry and even in geographical location within your geographical area, and then you can benchmark. You can compare the organization's compensation practices with those of the competitors or industry standards. So you can make a particular industry or a particular organization as your benchmark, and in comparison to that particular benchmark, you can study and analyze as to where do you stand while comparing your compensation structures with that particular organization. Next step is pay structure design. So here you will establish the salary ranges for different job levels, considering both the internal equity and external competitiveness. So, as we studied or learnt in the factors affecting compensation, there are so many factors that can determine a particular salary. So, considering all those factors, both internal as well as external factors, now is the time that you design your pay structure. So, you can develop the variable pay structures such as the bonuses, the profit sharing, or even the stock options, so that you can motivate your employees based on their performance and organizational success. Then the next is benefits and perquisites. Now is the time to create a full benefits package with retirement plans, health insurance, and other advantages. You can even consider non-financial rewards like flexible work arrangements, training opportunities, and recognition programs. So, as I just said, that every individual has a different lifestyle, every individual therefore has different needs. For a new mother, having a flexible work arrangement where she can manage the work as well as take care of her newborn baby is more important than maybe a 10,000 increase or reward. So, she would be more happy getting a flexible work arrangement than a bonus of 10,000. So, depending on the situations, depending upon the needs and wants of the people, you can develop your benefits, your perquisites, and your rewards per se. Then the next step is communication and transparency. Again, a very important step, because if your reward system is not properly communicated to your people, they would not be knowing as to what their performance metrics are, or doing what will fetch them a good reward. So, you need to clearly communicate the organization's reward philosophy, the policies and practices to your people. So, timely communication, and at the same time, once you have communicated the policies as to what is the basis of a reward system, you must also further ensure transparency in how rewards are determined and distributed to build trust and understanding among employees. So, once you have made the policies, you have also communicated it to your people. But when it comes to distributing the rewards, disbursing the rewards, then what is happening is that people who are the star performers are maybe not the favorites of the boss, and there are certain other people who are the favorite of the boss but are underperformers, they might be getting the rewards. Now, what will happen in this particular scenario is that the high performers will feel that they are being cheated, no matter they have been communicated about the reward systems, the policies or philosophies of the reward. But what is the fun if there is no transparency, if there is the systems or the policies are not being followed? This will actually make the employees lose trust in the management, and even it will hamper the teamwork or team spirit among employees working especially in teams. So, apart from communicating, yes, communication is also important, but more important here is I believe is the transparency, that whosoever is getting the reward, that should be the basis of that reward should be transparent, and everybody should be aware as to why he or she is being rewarded and why I was not rewarded. So, that actually helps in building trust and understanding among employees. The next is performance management integration. So, you must integrate the reward system with performance management processes so that you can link the individual and team performance to compensation. So, that is more important, that whatever performance I am giving, is that adequate or not? If it is adequate, more than expected, that then I will be getting reward. If it is not, then I will not get a reward, as simple as that. So, you must integrate performance management with your compensation benefit. So, you can provide regular feedback also and coaching to employees so that they can understand how their performance contributes to their rewards. Then the next point is the legal and ethical compliance. So, you must verify that the incentive program conforms with all the applicable labor laws, including those that are pertaining to equal pay, minimum wages and other such laws and acts. And also consider ethical principles in reward management such as fairness, equity, non-judgmental, non-biased or non-discrimination, that is also equally important. Then the next step is monitoring and evaluation. So, you must establish key performance indicators or the KPIs to monitor the effectiveness of your reward system. You must collect feedback from employees to continuously improve and adapt the reward management strategies. Then the next step is adaptation and flexibility, a feature which is very important. Regularly review and adapt the reward system to align with changes in the external market. We understand the organizations are operating in volatile market conditions today. The technology is changing, the economic conditions are also in some countries there is lot of political instability. The industry trends are changing, organizational needs are changing, customer is changing, customers' demands are changing. So, based on that, every organization must keep on reviewing their reward system so that they can align themselves with whatever the market scenario is. So, the development of reward management is an ongoing process and it requires continuous assessment. It is not something which is done in a year, once in a year, that okay, in the beginning of the year you have made a reward system and it will go on and on throughout the year. No, but because of the factors that I just stated, because of market volatility, because of political instability in countries, because of we can say geopolitical scenarios, the war is there in so many countries, the industry trends are changing, customers are changing, organizational needs are changing. So, at times because of all these factors, you as an organization must also change and adapt and be flexible to incorporate something new, something innovative in your reward system. So, that is why I say that the reward management is an ongoing process that requires continuous assessment, adjustment and alignment with the organizational goals and market conditions. Moving further, what are the various types of rewards? So talking of the types of rewards, there are three types of rewards broadly speaking. First is the total reward, second is the relational reward, and third are the strategic rewards. So let's learn about each one of them. First one being the total rewards. So as the name itself suggests, total rewards is a comprehensive approach, or we can say a holistic approach to employee compensation that goes beyond just the monetary aspects. It encompasses all the tools available to the employer that may be used to attract, motivate and retain the employees. So as I just said, it includes both monetary as well as the non-monetary elements. Talking of the purpose, why do we need to have total rewards? So the purpose of total rewards is to create a holistic package that considers the diverse needs and preferences of employees, promoting their overall well-being and engagement. So as I just said that every individual is different, the conditions and situations of every employee would be different. Some would be bachelors, some would be newly married, some would be having very young kids, some would be having their elderly parents with them who are dependent on them. So their needs and requirements would be different. So it is for the organization to understand the variety of needs and to come up with a total rewards so that they can create a holistic package covering both the monetary as well as non-monetary benefits for its people. The next one is the relational rewards. So the relational rewards, they focus on the quality of relationships and interactions within the workplace. So these rewards are often intangible and are derived from the relationships that employees have with their peers, with their managers or with the organization as a whole. So why we need relational rewards? What is the purpose of relational rewards? So these rewards, they aim to create a positive work environment that fosters strong interpersonal connections, trust and a sense of community among employees. So what if you have a good pay package, you are rewarded maybe monetarily, but what if the work culture is not a good one or not a positive work culture? Would you feel like going to your workplace? Over the period of time when money stops motivating us, maybe the second most important factor important for our retention is having a good work culture. That is the importance of relational rewards. So I do agree and I strongly believe that of course money is one of the very important factors determining why we work in a particular organization. But having a good culture, good environment, having good interpersonal relations is equally important, right? So once you have got good monetary benefits, it becomes pertinent for an employee to have these kinds of interpersonal connections and a positive work environment. That is the importance of relational rewards. And the last one is the strategic rewards. So these involve aligning the reward system with the overall strategic goals and objectives of the organization. It's about using rewards to drive specific behaviors and outcomes that contribute to the organization's success. And why we need strategic rewards? The purpose here is to reinforce behaviors and outcomes that are in line with the organization's strategic vision, helping to drive performance and success. So these were the three types of rewards. Moving further, let's talk about the reward strategy. So, what do we mean by a reward strategy and what are the components of a reward strategy? So, friends, a reward strategy is a structured approach adopted by organizations to attract, retain, and motivate employees effectively through the design and implementation of various reward systems. Talking about the components of reward strategy, it encompasses the monetary and non-monetary rewards, benefits, recognition, and career development opportunities that are tailored to meet the organization's objectives and employees' needs. Talking about the importance of a reward strategy, the first and foremost is of course talent retention. So, well designed reward strategies, they enhance employee satisfaction and loyalty, reducing the turnover rates and retaining top talent. The second one being employee motivation. So, reward strategies foster employee motivation, engagement and commitment towards achieving organizational goals. Performance improvement. By aligning rewards with performance, organizations can incentivize desired behaviors and drive continuous improvement. Because when I know that my performance is rewarded, that there is a particular reward system in place that will reward me for my performance, I would definitely perform better. And this alignment, as I said previously also, that you must align your rewards with the performance. Every good performance should be rewarded. And the next point of importance is competitive advantage. A compelling reward strategy, it helps organizations attract and compete for skilled professionals in the market. So, as I gave you the example of Google and Facebook, why are they able to attract skilled people is because of the reward strategy that they offer, which is much I would say on the higher side or better and innovative than what other organizations are offering to their people. Now, moving further are the steps in developing reward strategy. How does an organization develop its reward strategy? Number one, you have to assess your organizational goals. So, understand the organization's mission, vision and the strategic objectives and align these with the reward strategy within with its overreaching goals. Moving further, you analyze the employee needs. So, you must understand your people, conduct surveys, interviews and focus groups to understand employees' preferences and motivations. What we mean by employee preferences here is the context of the monetary and non-monetary benefits or rewards. So, some employees would be preferring maybe monetary rewards, other one would be preferring non-monetary. So, what are the employees' preferences? It's not about what I want to offer, it's about what others want from me. That is more important. So, you must understand what your employees prefer. What are their motivations? What are their expectations regarding rewards? So, I might be giving monetary rewards, but my people are more keen to have career development or maybe flexible working. So, you must analyze your employee needs and then you need to define the key performance indicators. So, identify the measurable performance metrics that contribute to the organization's success and link this with the rewards to achievement of these KPIs. So, once you have achieved your KPIs, this is what reward you would be getting. So, you must define the KPIs of your people and aligning with these KPIs would be the reward strategy. The next is design the reward structure. Now, once you have aligned the KPIs with the reward, this is the time where you will develop a comprehensive reward structure that will include the monetary rewards like the salaries, the bonuses, and the non-monetary rewards like recognition, career development, etc., including even your work-life balance. And now once this has been clearly articulated, now is the time to communicate and implement. So, clearly communicate the reward strategy to employees, ensuring transparency and understanding. Once you have communicated it to your people, now you cannot hold itself back. You have to implement those strategies also. So, implement the strategy effectively considering the organizational culture as well as the budgetary constraints. So, friends, with this we come to the end of this particular lecture. So, in this lecture we discussed about the reward strategies. We discussed as to how to develop a reward strategy, what are the steps of reward strategy, what is the importance of reward strategy. Then we also learnt about the types of rewards vis-a-vis total rewards, relational rewards and strategic rewards. Then we also learnt as to what are the components of a reward management system, how can you build a good reward management, what are the objectives of a reward system, and more certain such topics of reward management, reward system would be discussed in the subsequent lecture. Thank you.